If you've already watched parts 1 and 2 of the nervous system, let's check out part 3. Now, if you haven't seen them yet, go back, watch them, and then come here to watch with us. Welcome, students, and all you curious folks out there. My name is Tariq, and today we're going to talk about the divisions of the human nervous system. Before we start talking about the different divisions, we need to talk about the general functions of the nervous system. It has a variety of essential functions, like perceiving the environment through many different specialized types of glands and sensors in your body, carefully regulating and controlling your body's movements, both the contraction of skeletal muscles and the contraction of autonomic muscles, like your heartbeat. It also controls arousal, which for many animals means sleeping. Waking up and managing your daily cycle. It controls homeostasis, which is basically keeping your body's parameters within a limited range, like temperature, water content, salt concentration, glucose, oxygen, and a bunch of other little things. It's going to regulate all these things in your body. It also provides you with a sense of motivation, and that motivation is for survival. The constant search for food, water, and shelter, even looking for a sexual partner, and ultimately for learning and memory. After all, humans are highly evolved specialists in that specific field of development. Alright, to break down the nervous system, we're going to split it into two parts. The first is the central nervous system, which is made up of the brain and spinal cord in vertebrates. This central nervous system is abbreviated as CNS, and it handles information related to the senses like hearing, vision, smell, taste, and touch. It receives this information and sends commands to the muscles and glands to determine an action. The brain is the main element of this part. Everything is directed to it. The nerve impulse, it's the brain that interprets this information and sends a response to the organs that need to receive it. The morphology of the brain is divided into two parts. The first major division is between the two hemispheres, which are separated by a deep groove called the sagittal fissure. Deep within the protective cavity of your skull, along with the brain, there exists a specialized clear liquid known as cerebrospinal fluid, which continuously circulates throughout the brain and spinal cord. It is important for diagnosing various diseases and metabolic disorders. There is also white matter, formed by axons, which are covered by myelin, a lipoprotein material that surrounds these fibers and increases the speed of nerve impulse transmission. We've already seen this in gray matter, which forms the covering or cerebral cortex. In the lower back region of the brain is the cerebellum. It is an organ responsible for motor coordination, made up of a central part called the vermis and two lobes or hemispheres. We also have a part of the brain called the hypothalamus, which is a central control station for sleep and wake cycles, hunger and thirst regulation, hormone release, and many other critical functions. We have the thalamus, which is a group of nuclei with various functions. Some are involved in relaying information to both hemispheres, while others are involved in motivation. We have the cerebellum, which modulates information in brain systems to make them more precise. If you remove the cerebellum from an animal or a human, nothing in particular will happen. There won't be any major changes. It's just that their actions will become more hesitant and clumsy. We also have the cortex, which has multiple functions, among them the sense of smell and spatial memory. We have the hippocampus, which is also involved in spatial memory for navigation in birds, fish, reptiles, and also mammals. We have the basal ganglia, whose primary function is action selection. And we have the medulla, which serves as the transition from the brain to the spinal cord. It's in this part that a cylindrical nerve cord will emerge, extending down to the sacral bone. This cord consists of a central core and gray matter, arranged in an X-shaped pattern, surrounded by a cylindrical mass of white matter. The gray matter will branch out from the spinal cord and form a root of the radicular nerves. Along its entire length, the radicular spinal cord will be protected, like the brain, by a membrane called the ependyma. The central nervous system will have a part that is called the autonomic nervous system, or the vegetative nervous system. It will be related to the vegetative functions that control the body, such as breathing, blood circulation, temperature regulation, digestion. But of course, it's not limited to just that. It will also initiate various physiological changes in your body in response to the environment. For example, if you're somewhere extremely cold and freezing, your body will start to rapidly contract your skeletal muscles to generate heat. You'll have your skin contract, which is why your hair will start to stand on end. You'll experience vasoconstriction in your blood vessels, and all of this is directly controlled and regulated by the autonomic nervous system. It plays a big role in controlling functions like reflex responses or functions using smooth muscle, both cardiac and that of the exocrine glands, to allow changes in blood pressure, respiratory rate, peristaltic movements, and the excretion of certain substances. It's important to remember that the autonomic nervous system is not independent from the nervous system as a whole. It is interconnected with the hypothalamus, which coordinates all these responses to maintain the body's homeostasis. It is subdivided into three categories. The sympathetic nervous system, which is responsible for regulating the body's activation responses. The parasympathetic nervous system, which is responsible for returning the body to a state of balance and conservation after the activation of the sympathetic nervous system. And the enteric nervous system, which is known as a second brain. This system is the least known of the three, and it is responsible for generating emotional responses through the secretion of neurotransmitters such as serotonin, dopamine, and some opioids. Thanks to this system, we understand how neurotransmitters work and how they relate to emotions. Among the functions of the sympathetic nervous system, we have the adrenal gland, which releases adrenaline into our bloodstream, pupil dilation, increased heart rate, opening of airways, inhibition of the digestive system so that energy can be focused on other tasks, like running away, for example, muscle tone, and stimulation of orgasm. And functions of the parasympathetic nervous system include, for example, constriction of the pupils, reduction of air volume in the lungs, decreased heart rate, stimulation of the digestive process, muscle relaxation, stimulation of sexual arousal. But in this case, it is not responsible for an opposite response to the sympathetic nervous system, but rather a complementary one. The other major division of the nervous system is the peripheral nervous system, or PNS, which is the part of the nervous system that is outside the central nervous system. It is made up of nerves, nerve ganglia, and terminal organs. Nerves are divided into three things. Sensory nerves, which are those nerves responsible for transmitting nerve impulses from the receptor organ to the central nervous system. Motor nerves, which carry the encoded impulse from the brain to the organ that will perform the action. And mixed nerves, which have the combined roles of both sensory and motor nerves. The receptor organs are the sense organs: vision, hearing, smell, taste, and tactile corpuscles, which have nerve connections adapted for the transduction of different types of stimuli detected from the outside world. The organs, basically, are glands and muscles, either smooth or striated. We can group them into specialized receptors called chemoreceptors, which detect stimuli through substances that enable the senses of smell and taste. Photoreceptors, which respond to light stimuli, are related to vision. Thermoreceptors, which respond to thermal stimuli, such as touch, for example. And mechanoreceptors, which receive stimuli through pressure and can be tactile or auditory, or even sense pain. So, in this lesson, we saw that there is a major division between the central nervous system and the peripheral nervous system, where the central nervous system has a pseudo-division called the autonomic central nervous system. This autonomic central nervous system controls the organs you don't consciously think about, and it is divided into the sympathetic, parasympathetic, and enteric systems. Meanwhile, the peripheral nervous system is responsible for gathering information from the environment into the body. With that, we wrap up the human nervous system. I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like and share, and remember that we have a new video every week. So subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell to always get the latest updates. Thank you so much.